How about the knee wrapping Bible from the guy with small legs that squats a lot? Let's talk everything knee wrapping, from where to start, rebound, stopping power. How does that impact what type of wrap that you wear? The different wrapping styles, my secret combination wrapping style, how to prepare your wraps, common mistakes. Let's dive in. We have a lot of different methods where people want to focus on either rebound, so that it would be how much it drives you out of the hole, this reactive squat. So a lot of times that's someone that is a very fast and dynamic squatter versus a cast-like wrap. So a cast-like wrap being this one right here, really hard to stretch, really great for stopping power for somebody that's wearing gear or just like a really slow eccentric stop where they're not going to get as much rebound from a nice stretchy wrap. So this is where your squat style can help you pick the type of wrap. Now, it also depends on how you're preparing for your squat. Whether you have somebody that can help you wrapping or you're wrapping yourself. Now I'm gonna show this whole demo wrapping myself because that's how I did the entirety of my career up to the last Grand Goals squat cycle, where I was squatting so frequently, my hands and wrists didn't want to keep up, so I did go to using Coach Kyle to wrap me in that process. Now let's look at the types of wrapping styles. And I'm going to go ahead and wrap myself to show you some of the different styles. So really common is just the basic overlay style, and that's where a lot of these lines are from, is overlaying and matching like to the second wrap line up here and just going up the knee and down. And then at the end, we tie off. Now we're going to cover tie off technique a bit later. Okay, so we've got a nice big breadth, nice solid and even stack up through here. The other style, and you'll see this a lot with a number of the Russian or Eastern European lifters, is more of a bundle process. So the bundling, so this one works really great for a rebound, a fast type squatter is doing this method. This also works really well for the cast type approach as well. So cast one, that'd probably be a really good approach. This one here is the bundle approach. And this actually relates back to before we had like gear in powerlifting, lifting gear suits, which has kind of gone away, but you'll see this wrap that is just like right in this area. And it's like, what is it doing? It's not stretching over the joint, but what it's doing is bundling up material. Back in the day, people used to put a tennis ball or a half a tennis ball even right back here so that it's stopping you and pushing you out of that hole. Again, that's a great one for a really fast kind of squatter. And you'll see that with a lot of the European lifters will really drop and bounce out. And it may even be even tighter than what I've shown. It looks kind of funny, just like in a really small area. Now, there is also adding the cross pattern, where people, as they're doing this wrap, either at the beginning or end, we're going to go with a pattern that looks like this over the knee. So this is really good with a stretchy wrap, and you're getting this big stretch from here to here over the knee. You'll see there's not a lot of material behind here. So the technique that I do and teach is a combination of these, and so it definitely is useful with a longer wrap to be able to achieve it. So some federations have a 2-meter wrap, like US APL. A lot of federations have a 2.5, so USPA. So those are two of the biggest federations out there right now. You've got the APF and some of the other ones that will allow a 3-meter, and then you've even got a few that will offer a 3.5. Now I said longer is better. There's some tricks, and I'm kind of getting ahead into some secrets here, but is at certain points to use less of the wrap. So what I'm going to do is a combination of the cross pattern and the bundle. So what that's going to do is get tremendous amount of both stopping power and rebound, more than that you're going to see really in any other style. So what we're going to do with that is we want to get a really good lock at the top and the bottom. And then we're going to be crossing this wrap back and forth. But as much as possible, we've got some time that we're going to be bundling the material behind it. And so it takes a lot of wrap to be able to do that. You'll see when I do this, the wrap's going to look really thick, but it's the same wrap. So we're going to make it longer. So I really always like to roll my wrap outwards on both sides. Doing them different ways seems to affect the knee a little bit. So what I'm going to do, so a lot of people would start like this and then wrap around, okay? All right, well, I'm going to use less material. So I'm going to start with my bundle right here, and I'm going to grab back here, and I'm going to pull it tight and stretch. Actually, that's even too much. So I'm going to shorten it to right here, this much wrap. And I've got it locked in now with that much wrap, as you can see. And I'm going to immediately, as fast as possible, go up to the top and be doing boom, all the same. And now you can see I still have almost all the wrap left, and I've got a lock, a place for this to pull off of top and bottom. So a normal cross pattern may not be able to do that. So now I'm going to go down over the knee. And here's a critical, this is kind of one of the secrets and what people often do really wrong with a wrap. What they do is they're really focused on pulling this way, okay? You see right here? Because this is your most leverage point. Even your wrap person, this is the direction that they're pulling. Boom, right here. And so, yeah, that's making that wrap. It's pulling a lot of tension. But tension on the back of the knee does nothing. Tension on the front of the knee is what stretches and opens, okay? We actually want material on the back of the knee. So you'll see when I pull around the back, I actually don't apply as much force because I want more material there, and then I want the tension in the front to be the most possible. So I've got it here, and now I'm gonna cross here, really focus on getting as much stretch as I can. Come around the back. You'll notice I don't have that much tension here. And as I come around the back, I'm gonna come up just a little bit here, and you can see I'm getting into the back of the knee. Well, these two are almost touching now, okay? And I'm gonna be doing a lot of these crosses and not as big. Now across the front, I'm gonna pull lots of tension, okay? Boom. Now I'm gonna come across the back, and again, now I'm moving a little bit towards the center. Getting more material. Again, not as much tension. And now, tight across here. Boom, that same spot. And now, again. And again. All right, now here at the end, I'm actually, my last little bit, I've got enough on here to do another X, okay? You can see how much overlap I'm starting to get here. Now I've got this timed, so I'm gonna be planning my finish, okay? If I've got a pair of pliers, I'm gonna lay it in here. If I'm doing like a West Side technique, I'm gonna be all prepped. I'm gonna have this in here, okay? I'm not doing this wrapped super tight, I'm doing it myself. But I'm gonna come in, and this last one, I'm gonna leave directly on the back as well, and I'll come across, boom. And if I had my pliers, they'd be in here, so it wouldn't be challenging to pick this up. And you can see this last little bit, how much bundle I've got in here. So I've got multiple cross hatches. It looks kind of funky from the outside, but you can see how thick this is. And with this little tiny wrap, whoa, I've got tremendous stopping power. Holy cow. It looks like there's a massive amount of wrap, but it's that same one. It's where the material is and how I'm using it. And now we can see how many, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I've got 5 cross patterns in there, massive material back here, locked top and bottom, finished with it pulled through right here where it's easy to grab with my tool or my hand to pull through. This method is crazy for the amount of both rebound and stopping power. It works for both. And you can see that I can wrap this myself. So let's move into wrapping preparation. There's wrap rollers out there. They're really handy. You can do this by yourself as well. So we're gonna just show a little bit on wrap rolling and then a couple other preparation pieces, all right? So I'm just rolling this up by hand to start with. But if I don't have a wrap roller, an easy piece is to do this really piece at a time. So I'm gonna actually unroll this. Okay. So I'm gonna be right here and stretch as much as I can and get this roll going. Boom. And then keep doing this over and over and over again. Really making sure that we're getting that stretch in there. And that's gonna create a lot less work. Now I just did this wrap without the stretch. It was just stretching on my own. But if I'm getting that much stretch, it might be way out here. So this is gonna preserve that in the roll. Once you're done with this, you can put a rubber band over it. Oftentimes I just set a 25-pound plate on it and get that prepared. If we wanna enhance the stopping power of any wrap, we can also go in with a little chalk, okay? And we can chalk on here. As you're doing that, as you're wrapping over, you're gonna get chalk caught between those layers and stop those layers from moving as much. It can be really, really, sometimes a little much. We can also do that directly on our leg, okay? And that's gonna grab that even more. Some things to be aware of. As you're wrapping and learning the tightness of the wraps, the skin, the neurology under here at first is going to experience a pain-like and burning sensation. That will start as your body gets used to it. It's not like, oh, I get used to the pain and I'm just used to feeling it and overcoming it. But it'll start not experiencing the pain over time. So if that's the case, go ahead and wrap less. But also remember, the most of the tension needs to be on the front. We want material on the back, stretch on the front. So that's just a really common mistake that I see. The most common, like almost all of everybody stretches this on the back and then they just hang it over the front. Pull on the back, hang it over the front. You're doing exactly the opposite of what we can do to maximize the use of the wrap. Now, when we're finishing this, I did talk about the ending piece. I forgot the double jointed needle nose plier. This is something that actually I started the use of that, if you see that, but I'll lay that in preparation for where I'm gonna do so that, boom, it's right here. As I come through, I'd grab it and pull it. There's the west side technique, which is actually to pull through. So you'd use like a coat hanger or anything else like this. And I'd run this under here. I'd have this laid over underneath and you pull it, boom. That looks a little sloppy. It'd be a little cleaner than that. But the point is, you've got this hoop here with this line here so that you can just pull that out and now it comes off. So that's kind of the west side technique. That can be really challenging if you're wearing a cast-like wrap that is wrapped super tight to be able to actually pull the wrap out when you're done. The only thing I don't like about that is it uses a lot of the material, again, for a purpose that isn't in the area that we want at all. We're using, to do that, you're using a big section of wrap, and you saw how much use I can get out of that much wrap. Right? I can get a couple X patterns and a full lock-in and all that from this type. But again, if you're using a suit that you're gonna get a lot more power out of this than here, it may not be as important. So those are some different considerations. Right here I've got the Enzer wrap, which has the grippy powder, this grip material in here. That's essentially doing the same thing as what this would do when I'd be using something like a Pioneer wrap or something else with a little chalk where I can get the combo of that. With this together, you should have a pretty good idea of how to just blow your squat up with everything all about knee wraps, the Knee Wrapping Bible. Hope you enjoyed. Another common mistake is just timing. So understand how long it takes to wrap your knee, how long you can stay in the wrap before going to the lift. And that's gonna change over time as you change your style and change the tightness and what you get comfortable with. So always be aware of this, because what we don't want